So hello everyone, welcome here to round number 9 of the 2014B NASA RallyCross Challenge season here at the Riverside Raceway in Riverside, California, round number 2 of the 2014B Royal Purple Endurance Cup. As it's Josh Mertz bringing you the call for the Automotive Sports Network today, as 42 points are left on offer for the season and for the 3 title protagonists, Josh Mertz, Cody Erdman, and Dylan Livingood, the 2 Red Bull Subaru MRT teammates, and the quadruple defending World Drivers Champion for Revolution Racing. Coming into round number 9, here are the stats, as all 3 of them have started 8 races, obviously enough. The season has panned out in 3 different directions. Mertz won twice, once in Croft and once in Negus 2 weeks ago, but the reason why he is so far ahead in the championship is the 6 podiums that he has. I believe he's on a streak of 4 in a row, and if he finishes on the podium this week, it will tie the team record that Tristan Hagenstein set last season, driving for a combination of, I believe, MRT and MRT Junior. As you can see here, he's got the highest average finish at 2.5 because he's finished on the podium the most. Dylan Livingood, however, he won in Talladega, in Valkenswaard, and in Bent Twig. He has 4 podiums. Just once, which was in Croft, I believe, to Mertz. Those are his only podiums of the season, but he's got 6 heat wins. That's what's keeping him alive in this championship, and Erdman's got a combination of both of those those strategies, as he has won 3 times in a row. It was Island Rally, Munich, and St. Eustache, not in that order, however, and he finished on the podium 5 times, including those 3 wins, and he has 3 heat wins, and his average finish is 2.8. So the 3 seasons are panning out in 3 different directions, and it has allowed these guys to get, I believe, almost 20 points ahead of everyone else. Chris Wetz is barely within a race, and with 42 points left on offer and an average of 10 cars, realistically, he is out of the championship, and it's only these 3 drivers that have a realistic shot. And if you're a Dylan Livingood fan, you're not going to like this. But here's seeding for round number 9, and it's the MRT drivers sweeping the top 3 in seeding. Mertz with a 122.763, his teammate Hagenstein a 123.164. Erdman had issues going up the hill in his Subaru, a 125.387. Then it's Daniel Bellamy at a 127.664 in his private Subaru. Then it's Mitsubishi's for the rest, as there are no Citroens, Fords, or Volkswagens this week. Brandon Nicholson returns in his Mitsubishi, the 2014A Privateer Cup champion for drivers, 132.326. Casey Lester for Revolution Junior, 137.966. And the 3-car team for Revolution Racing next season, Dylan Livingood crashed at the top of the hill. Tanner Smith spectacularly crashed in car number 13. We will show you that in a moment. And Chris Wetz did not set a time, as he was not actually at the track during seeding. Tanner Smith was actually driving Chris Wetz's car number 71, and Wetz was put at the back. We're going to go on board with Mertz, and then I will show you that incredible crash for Tanner Smith, as I don't recall seeing a car flip like that ever here at Riverside. So let us get this lap ready to go here for Mertz in car number 81. And here it is, on board, the double champion in car number 81. Is down the backstretch, into the kink, and into this final corner, which is a reverse oval corner. Very, very easy for the oval guys to get right, but if you're Mertz and you're a road racer, it's relatively hard. It's very, very open. Multiple lines, hug the curb. The grass there is the penalty box, and off the final corner, you begin the lap here in Riverside. You want to hug this curb to rotate the car, but not too much because you'll flip like Tanner Smith did. You can go onto that pavement, but it's relatively tricky, and then this is the only place on the outside of turn 2 right there that you can run 4 wheels off, only to an extent, otherwise you will get called for cutting. Climbing up the hill, 3rd gear mainly, you can probably get 4th right here, then you want to shift quickly down to 2nd to get the back to rotate for, I believe this is turn 9. Hit the gas, over the jump. This is where Mertz messed up, and I don't think anyone got a perfect lap here during seeding, because even Mertz hit the wall over the 2 jumps, where this is where His season came unglued in 2012A in the LCQ, where his suspension broke right over to the right there. Now down the backstretch, over the jumps, which have always been a spectacular sight to see the field jump over down this backstretch from our camera that's mounted on the Pirelli bridge. Underneath, passing the field was for seating, as Mertz led the field in practice, gave him the first choice in seating, and I believe this allowed him to get the best grip on this dirt, because all the dirt was cleared off. During practice, he got the most grip, and off of the final corner, Mertz's lap crosses the line, 1:22.763 for the double champion in car number 81. And we are going to show you now Tanner Smith's ridiculous crash. I mean, I hate to call a crash ridiculous, but it was pretty crazy in car number 71. Remember, he was filling in for Chris Wetz, as Wetz was not at the track yet. So here he is. This is his seating attempt as he'll cross the line. And we're going to cut it down to a fourth of the speed. As he turns into the corner, left front goes over the curb, right front hits the curb, then it tosses him over, and over he went, and barrel rolling in car number 71, destroying the Mitsubishi, is Tanner Smith. And needless to say, Chris Wetz is not happy about that in car number 71. Not happy at all as to what his tentative teammate has done to his car. But thankfully, however, they were able to get it fixed. And here's the grid for heat number 1. Fastest man in seating, Mertz on pole. And I believe they gridded wrong. Wetz and Hagenstein have to switch, I believe. Or our graphics just wrong. Let's see here. Yes, they did grid wrong. It's Wetz in car number 71. Then it's Hagenstein and Tanner Smith. As very quickly here, let's see if we can go through the format. 9 cars. 2 heats, 3 laps, top 2 advance. Last chance qualifier, 2 laps, top 2 advance. Final is 6 drivers for 6 laps here today in Riverside. Very quick, as we will have 2 heats, so that makes 4 cars, and it's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, who gets the whole shot? Into turn number 2, it's Smith, followed by Hagenstein, Wetz, and Mertz, your pole man. Not having a good day already in car number 81. So this is going to allow Smith to try and pull away up the hill. The Mitsubishis have really good speed through this section, but I think the Subarus have very good brakes, as you see by Hagenstein diving in, and he hits Smith, and around he goes. And Smith gets hit, and that's a red flag. That's a red flag. So Smith got hit by Hagenstein. Hagenstein hit Wetz, and that blocked the track. And this gives Mertz another shot, because luckily he gets a red flag to get a better start, as that start was not too good for the double champion. As it's uncharacteristic to see starts like that, but he's been trying to lay back for the start to avoid calamity, and possibly that's not the thing to do here at Riverside, as it's very hard to pass. As we're revving them up for the restart of heat number 1 already, and it's lights out and away we go. And off the line, Mertz does it again. It's going to be 3 wide, no, 2 wide between Hagenstein and Smith, and Hagenstein goes out to a lead. Smith second, third Wetz. Now Mertz is in a hole as he wants to try and get by Wetz in car number 71. Will he try an aggressive move? He comes in as the points leader by 2 points over Dylan Livingood, as Erdman had issues last week in Bent Twig. So you know the points leader wants to transfer through relatively simply as he jives onto the inside. Smith is around in car 13. So take Tanner Smith out of the equation. Mertz in second now. And now Wetz wants to battle him for the transfer spot. As the shot I told you during the seating lap, as the cars jump over the jumps on the backstretch here, because I believe this used to be a runway for an airport until this track was put in. That's what causes this very long straightaway. As Smith, I believe, has parked the car in car number 13. So we are 3 cars left in this Heat 1. So Smith, the first car of the LCQ in Riverside today. Beginning lap number 2, and it's Hagenstein pulling away. And I think I'm hearing on the radio telling Hagenstein, can I have the point, please? But I don't think Tristan's going to allow it. But Mertz is going to push hard, as he goes really wide in car number 81. And Wett's trying to catch him. Wett's just got to the track, very little practice in car number 71. But we'll see what happens here. Hagenstein brakes. Mertz brakes! And Mertz is around! The points leader's around and out of the transfer spot! This is big, as I don't think he'll be able to catch Wett's with a lap and a half to go. Oh, he's mad. I don't know what happened there for car number 81. I think the rear is just locked on him. But now, we're going to try and see if Wett's can hold him off here. Let's see if we can get them all in the same shot. There's Hagenstein, Wett's, whereas Mertz, there he is. That's the gap. That's a huge gap to try and claw back in a lap and a half. I do not think that Mertz can get this gap back unless something catastrophic happens with the Mitsubishi. The Mitsubishis haven't had good luck here, except for last season. 2013C, they all crashed in this final corner. We saw Wett's and Livingood go into the catch fence on the final lap when MRT went 1-2. Last season they got a 1-2 finish as that set up the incredible doubleheader battle between the Revolution teammates for the doubleheader in Irwindale. I cannot speak English, apparently. Hagenstein leads, and he is 0.8 of a second faster than Wett's, and Mertz, obviously, that lap time is not going to count because he ran off the track. So, the double champion trying to get the transfer spot. I don't think he's going to run out of time because Wett's is way far away, bouncing off of walls, though, so you never know what will happen. Sideways in his car, number 81. And Hagenstein, I don't think he's won a heat this season, so this would be a good change, as I think he's had to transfer through the LCQ most of the other races, and after bad luck for the the last 2 races, you never know when your luck will change. So it's good to see the luck changing for car number 83 in the Dutchman. As with the 3 cars, he will be driving car number 83 or car number 3, depending on what happens in these final 2 races. As Wett's goes into the final corner, Mertz is going to drive it in for all he's worth, trying to get close. Hagenstein will win the his first heat of the season, I believe. Wett's will transfer through, and Mertz got close, and you can tell he's mad. He's going to roll across the line just ever so slightly, park the car, and that was his heat run. And we're going to take a look at what happened to the double champion as to why he did not transfer through. As the start was hairy, but it was pretty much settled after the first couple of corners. These S's are really of one lane, so it's really tricky. So we're going to see here, focusing on car number 81, he went way wide in turn 2. Telemetry said he had to blip the throttle and make sure he did not get called for cutting. From the helicopter, he just lost it. I don't know if that was brake lockup or if he just lost the car, but a momentary lapse in concentration for car number 81, and it results in him, I should say, spinning out and losing the transfer spot, and he has to go to the LCQ for the 3rd consecutive week. But having to go to the LCQ is really not a thing you want to rely on, as cars are grouping up for heat number 2. And this is an interesting heat. You have the Revolution Junior car of Leicester. You can pretty much say that Nicholson is on Revolution Junior, but technically he's not, because if they were on Revolution Junior, it would forfeit Leicester's privateer battle. Then there's the privateer Subaru, and the 2 title protagonists on pole, Erdman in car number 82, because of his 2nd place run in the heat. Livingood in 2nd, Bellamy 3rd, Leicester 4th, and on the back row is Nicholson in car number 37. So this is going to be another interesting heat. as we're revving them up, getting ready to go, and it's lights out, and away we go, and off the line from the helicopter, Erdman gets the jump in car number 82, and this is going to allow him to break away from Living Good as those two are gone from the rest of the field. Bellamy's in third. The three privateers probably are going to allow the manufacturer cars to duke it out for the bonus point. As you know, this late in the season, every bonus point counts. 2013 C, Mertz had 9 heat wins to his credit, and he won the championship because of those. As I believe if he did not win any heats, Living Good would have won the championship by a point or two. But because he won 9 heats, he won by about 7 points. So every heat win counts because you get a bonus point, and I would be repeating myself. So those two are pulling away. You see from our cameras, that camera, like I said, that was mounted way at the end of the straightaway. Whole field in your shot there. Erdman defending on Living Good. Will he go to the inside? No. As he's trying, Living Good is to try and catch. It's about two car lengths opening up. Remember, Erdman is an oval driver. Living Good is too. But Erdman races at Slinger Speedway, and that's not what you do. Racing ovals is banging off of walls with 2 laps to go. As Erdman, Living Good battling it out, as Bellamy has a gap to make up. Living Good dives it in, and he runs it way out wide, and he slides it. Living Good is sliding in car number 51. Can he get it back on the track? Yes, he does. Normally you'd get a goal to go to the penalty box if you ran that wide, but I think because he ran off the track, that suffices as giving up time, as he did give up quite a bit of time by mowing the lawn. As I remember, it was really muddy here last season, and that's what caused everyone to really have an annoyance with going out off the track, and I think it's dried up this season, so you don't have to worry about any drivers having issues getting stuck out in the grass like the first season here when Mertz and Living Good had their issue in their heat. They both got stuck in the mud because, strangely, this is California, and you would think California is dry, but strangely, it rained a lot, and it was muddy. But anyway, Erdman won here in 2013 C, and that gave MRT a 1-2 finish. He was unable to race here last season, I don't think, and Mertz wasn't either. So who knows what will happen on the white flag at heat number 2. And Living Good ran a 125.495, Erdman a 123.258, Bellamy a 124.4. And we're waiting on timing and scoring for Lester, 27.151, and Nicholson is stuck. So Nicholson goes to the LCQ automatically because he's not moving anytime soon. But Living Good still in the transfer spot, so that's what he needs. But this title battle, you cannot make any mistakes like that. And if luck repeats itself with the 2 MRT drivers here, Revolution is going to have a tough race today. I mean, I really don't want to be mean, but the 2 MRT drivers were not here last season, and they were able to reap the benefits the Revolution drivers were. But in 2013 C, that was a horrible race for Wetz and Living Good. And it was a great race for Mertz and Erdman, as these 4 have been the manufacturer cars for most of the series. Teams have come and go, but MRT and Revolution have been here since the start. And it's allowed them to get experience, it's allowed their cars to build, it's allowed their speed to come up. And Erdman will come around the corner and win heat number 2 with Living Good transferring. Erdman victorious. And it got close between Living Good and Bellamy, but Bellamy will be best of the rest in car number 125. 4th spot will be Casey Lester in car number 50, as he will have to go to the LCQ. And speaking of the LCQ here in Riverside, it's about to start. And this is going to be a 2-lap duel. And this is going to be good. As we're waiting for Lester to get on grid, as I believe he will be on pole position in car number 50. Here's your grid. Car 50 on pole for Revolution Junior. It's Casey Lester, 2nd place in Privateers. Brandon Nicholson, car 37. Bellamy, 125. Smith, 13. The only privateer that's in the race so far is Hagenstein. And to lock the championship up, Lester needs to get to the final and beat Hagenstein to prevent a clinch of the championship. Mertz is on the back row. This is a 2-lap race. So people need to get their moves done. And it's lights out and away we go. And speaking of moves, there he goes already. Mertz trying to make something happen. In car number 81, Smith leads. Nicholson, Bellamy, Mertz. Nicholson runs it wide in car number 37. Take him out of the equation, as he's just going to pull off and park it as he's stuck in the mud. But now, passing's hard to do, and your championship leader is back in the pack. Smith can run out and away from the rest of the field, but we're going to focus on Bellamy and Mertz, as at the moment we have a moment to speak. If MRT scores 3 more points than Revolution, their championship will be locked. The Nations Cup will be locked if they score higher than Canada. Realistically, the Nations Cup, Tires Cup, Constructors Championship, Manufacturers Championship, they're all going to be locked up today. Privateers as well. Because Subaru, Germany, etc., have had a fantastic season. As this guy has had a fantastic season, and he's looking at a desperate move, possibly in the final corner. Bellamy holds the inside, will Mertz make it on the outside, diving in as a double champion on the privateer who finished 3rd in Croft this season. Can he make it happen? On the outside as the white flag flies, and the LCQ, he's got it! What a move on Daniel Bellamy Mertz did! You don't see those moves too often, and that's about the 4th move he's done on the outside this season. Barely misses the wall in car number 81. Now he has to hold him off. As like I said, Smith can just fly away from the rest of the field. Mertz doesn't care at this point. All you do by winning the LCQ is getting to pick your gate in a 6 or a 10 car final. If it was an 8 car final, then Mertz would care because that would put him on the front row. But it's a 6 car final, and like I mentioned, 6 or 10 car finals, you just pick your gate on the back row of the grid. As next season, going to be interesting, as who knows what'll happen. It's either going to be a Subaru or a Mitsubishi with car number 1. And it's not going to be this Mitsubishi, but he's going to be driving for potentially the championship winning team. Well, actually no, because MRT will clinch the championship if they outscore today. Realistically, MRT is going to win the Constructors' Championship, as Revolution has not had a great season from both cars. Only Living Good has had a good season, Wets has not. But anyway, rounding the final corner, he's going to win the LCQ and take the fight to Tristan Hagenstein for private honors. Smith and Mertz transfer through. 7th place, Bellamy. 8th place, Lester. And 9th place will go to Brandon Nicholson in car number 37, as he will finish 9th in his return to NASA Rallycross. As the field getting gridded for the final here, everyone is going to pull up and get ready. Here we go. Row number 1 here in Riverside. On pole is the junior Subaru of Tristan Hagenstein. Next to him is teammate Cody Erdman. Then it's the 2 Revolution Mitsubishis, Wets and Living Good. And on the back row of the grid, it's Smith and Mertz. So we have 6 laps to duke it out here in Riverside. And the silver car, the purple car, and the black car are the title protagonists and the cars you have to watch for. But the spoilers are the black and red, the white and blue, and the red, as those cars can do damage in the championship if they finish higher. And it's lights out and away we go. And off the line, who's going to get the whole shot? We were 5 wide for a moment, and into turn 1, it's going to be Hagenstein as he gets turned, as it's only 2 cars. Potentially a red flag. Living Good has ran it all the way out wide, as the 2 MRT cars are out on the spot practically. Now Living Good leads, Wet 2nd, Smith 3rd, Mertz 4th. Never mind, red flag. That is a red flag. And we will try and get a replay of that, because I don't know what happened between the cars. All I saw was Hagenstein sideways. So let's get a replay here as to what happened. As, like I mentioned, I was calling a start, and then a red car was sideways blocking the track, and it took his teammate out, and Living Good mowed the lawn and everything. Okay, so from this camera, you'll be able to see we're going to do half speed. As here's Hagenstein on pole. From a quarter of the speed, 3 wide into turn 1, he clips the curb. Yeah, these curbs are really slippery. He hits the berm, that sends him sideways. Erdman gets sandwiched. That turns him sideways. Living Good shoots the gap. But that sends them both off the track, and then Living Good decides to mow the lawn. I don't know if he attached lawnmower blades to that Mitsubishi or not, but, you know, that's not exactly the funnest thing to do in a rally car. So that was only 2 cars, but it sent 3 of them off the track, so that is why, by the regulations, we have to do a race restart. So they're rounding the track here, and here we go, getting regridded for the first attempt at a race restart today in Riverside. And this will be good, as Riverside has always produced a race where you just have to go on the start. I mean, we can say that for every single rallycross race, but the start funnels, so you just have to get going, and it looks like both of the LCQ drivers are switching gates. That is in the rules. So Smith will start now behind Dylan Livingood, and Mertz will start wisely behind his teammate Hagenstein. So if you split the grid in half, it's MRT and Revolution, 2 privateers and 4 manufacturer cars, and this locks up the Privateer Cup for Tristan Hagenstein, his 3rd championship in that cup. But he won't go for it next season with the 3 cars. So here we go, getting ready to go for the final in round number 9, and it's lights out and away we go. And off the line, the MRT guys get a great start, it looks like. Erdman, Hagenstein leads into the first corner, then it's Livingood who runs out way out wide, battling with Hagenstein. Then Mertz in 4th, Smith and Wetz, that's your running order, up the hill for the first time. Livingood runs it wide. Everyone ran it wide. Wetz is all over the track in car number 71. And now Hagenstein holding up his teammate. Will he let Mertz go? Mertz is trying. He can't make anything happen. Rounding to shoot down onto the backstretch. We've seen this 2 seasons ago with Erdman. If he gets out and away from the rest of the field, he's gone here at Riverside. Nobody can challenge him. That's the way it was for his 3 other race wins this season. He got out in front on the start, and nobody could catch him. Side by side, the 2 MRT teammates. Will Hagenstein let Mertz go? Let's see if he feathers the throttle. Yes. So he lets the championship leader go, as Mertz now will battle Livingood in car number 51. And you know Mertz doesn't like to see the 51 ahead of him. He doesn't care about the 82, because the 82 is down on points. But Erdman is down on points. Livingood is not. As we begin lap number 2, Livingood runs it wide. Mertz bumps him, and car number 81 and 51, and this has took them out. And Smith hits Livingood. That's a red flag. That is 3 cars. That's a red flag. That'll potentially have implications on the championship, as that is a red flag, and let's take another look at that while the field regrids. From the helicopter, we're going to go half speed, as this could potentially have implications in the championship, as who knows if something's broken now on car number 51. He ran it wide. Mertz took the gap, and it looks like the grip went away from car number 81 on those Bridgestone tires. Normally Bridgestone has really great grip, but apparently not today. As he backs it into the fence, he gets hit, and that tosses him over. Hagenstein was able to avoid, Smith was not, and that's what called a red flag because of the 3 cars involved. So the field will come around and regrid. This will be attempt number 2 at a race restart. If they wreck again, we will have 1 more attempt, and whoever causes the wreck that would cause a red flag, I believe, gets sent to the penalty box or a complete disqualification. I'm not sure about the rules amendment that has been put into place, as the Mitsubishis are not here. Livingood's won 4 championships, you can tell by that spin. The Subarus are here, the Mitsubishis are not, so we're going to sit and wait and see what'll happen here. I wonder if Smith is going to grid behind Living Good again. Mertz grids behind Hagenstein. Smith swaps gates again, now choosing behind Erdman, excuse me. And let's see if we can get through more than a lap and about 500 feet. So it looks like Wetz has to pull in his pit stop for a moment. Excuse me there. Looks like something was unplugged. His belts got untightened. That's strange. Crew member had to open up the door and tighten him up, help him out. So there's row 1. Hagenstein, Urban, Wetz, Living Good. Row 2 is Mertz and Smith. This is the third and final attempt at a race restart, I believe. Getting ready to go here in Riverside. 6 laps, 6 cars. Who knows what will happen for the second round of the Endurance Cup. But round number 9 is lights out and away we go. And off the line from the helicopter, it's Hagenstein and Erdman into corner number 1 for the first time. Hagenstein bumps his teammate wide. Livingston shoots the gap in car number 51 and will take the incentive to be in second spot. Wetz gets passed by Mertz on the outside going up the hill. Make that pass number 5 on the outside for the season for car number 81. And now Livingston wants to hang with Erdman because like I said earlier this season and in earlier races, if Erdman gets out in clean air, he's gone. Say sayonara for the race win. Livingston second, Hagenstein third, Mertz off the podium in fourth. The streak is being jeopardized in car number 81. Remember, if he finishes on the podium this race, he will tie the record set by this man, Tristan Hagenstein. As I think Living Good reporting overheating in car number 51. So this is potentially bad for the Mitsubishi. I think he's got some trash on his grill, some dirt buildup, which is strange because everyone has dirt buildup and nobody ever overheats. So there has to be some form of trash blocking the grill in car number 51. As Erdman's out to a lead, Living Good runs it wide. And it's gone. You can hear it go. The engine is gone onto the Living Goods car, and the season might be over for car number 51. As I was listening, as the radio was saying, overheating, 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 and an engine gone. And I listened, it's gone. Make him 6th spot. And now we have 5 left, and it's a podium sweep already for MRT and Subaru. Now, Living Good out of the championship. Basically, you could say, if the MRT driver's Hagenstein around, does exactly what he did on the start. And I was about to say, if the MRT drivers finish 1-2, it's the championship over for Living Good. Now Hagenstein's in 5th, as he did exactly what he did in 2013C and what he did on the original final start. Clipped the curb, it tossed the car around, and sends him to 5th. The only spoilers that can ruin this championship and make it harder for Mertz and easier potentially for Living Good are Wetz and Smith in the 2 Mitsubishis. Living Good's teammates. If the Revolution cars get to the back of the Subaru and rough him up a little bit, make him go back a few places, that'll make it easier, but you have to remember, Erdman is out and away, so this is going to possibly open the championship up for Erdman if Mertz gets distracted. Rounding the final corner to begin lap number 3, it's Erdman leading. Mertz is in 2nd, so it's a 1-2 currently for MRT. Wetz is 3rd, Smith is 4th, and Hagenstein still in 5th, but he is not going to give up because remember 2 weeks ago there was only 3 cars that finished the race. As Erdman 122.9, here are laps. 122.3, Smith, then it's Erdman, Wetz, Mertz, Hagenstein, Living Good. Living Good's lap really doesn't count because he did not complete a full lap. As Wetz and Smith are going to be battling for the 3rd spot. Really best of the rest from the MRT drivers. Looks like a transponder issue potentially on Wetz's car. So this, let's see if we can figure out what happened. Something exploded in the engine of car number 71, I'm hearing, as looks like Hagenstein flipped again. Something exploded, and it took the transponder out. So I don't know if you want to call that transponder or engine failure or both, but unfortunately, both of the Revolution cars have engine failures. and that takes him out of the running, and now we have 4 cars left. So like I mentioned earlier, when the MRT drivers show up, it's a horrible race for Revolution Racing. Cross flags are being shown, and we've got 3 more left to go. Tentatively, Erdman's got the Endurance Cup by about 7 points over Tanner Smith. So this is looking good for Erdman, and Mertz doesn't care as long as he finishes second to Erdman, because tentative points are saying that he'd have a 1-point lead, and it would be a winner-takes-all scenario in Irwindale, so that'd be a hell of a race between the teammates, as we've seen them battle really hard all season long, and it's really strange to see this season come to a close like last season did. We had a really open championship in 2014A, then the MRT team started having issues with Mertz not being able to arrive to the track, being very disappointed in his then championship defense. Erdman had commitments in Slinger, so you had Hagenstein, who was picking up the pieces from Revolution, who was romping away with the championships. It was actually this race last season, when it was then round number 8, that they locked up the Constructors' Championship. Strangely, Mitsubishi didn't win that championship until Irwindale. They finished 7th twice and won all the other races, and those 2 7th places prevented them from locking the championship up. Subaru has finished on the top 2 steps of the podium every single race, and there are 2 Subarus at the front of the field today as lap number 5 begins, and there's 2 more to go, as the running order has not changed. It is this man, followed by his teammate. And MRT has been on a tear this season. If the race were to end right now, that would give them 7 wins. That's a lot. Actually, 6 wins. My apologies. I miscalculated there. We give them 6 wins. And I think that ties the record from Revolution Racing, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be some form of record. Mertz would tie his podium record. Realistically, he's going to tie his podium record, because you see from this camera mounted on a pole right there, there's the field, and there's Hagenstein. So realistically, Mertz has the record tied from Hagenstein. So it's going to matter. If it's a winner-take-all scenario, he has to finish ahead of Erdman. So he will pretty much probably break that streak next week. As now it's going to be a battle for second, as Mertz has been taking it relatively easy. I say that, and then his last lap was his fastest at a 1:22.632. Fastest on the tracks, 1:22.374 for Tanner Smith. Actually, 1:21.608. So he is pushing for the second spot, as he wants to break the stranglehold. As I believe this will be MRT's third 1-2 finish if Smith doesn't get there, but Mertz is having to defend his points lead. Well, second place in points, actually. And Smith's getting close, but right here, the Mitsubishi does not have traction out of this corner, and Mertz does, as the gap got close, and then it pulled out ever so slightly, as Mertz has to defend. In car number 81, Smith nearly landed on him. And if they would have crashed, that would have been a hilarious spectacle, as we saw that a couple weeks ago in St. Eustache with, I believe it was Living Good and Mertz, because that also happened in 2013 or 2014A between Lambert and Wetz. But anyway, that was last season. That was a couple weeks ago also. Right now we're focusing on this. Erdman is out and away going into the final corner, but it's going to be between Mertz and Smith. Mertz defends because Smith is going to try this. Outside move. Can he make it stick like Mertz did? No! Will Smith try the undercut? He's going to. He doesn't have the grip, and he hits the curb, as Erdman will win in Riverside, and it's a 4th 1-2 finish for MRT this season. Smith has to settle for 3rd, and Hagenstein will settle for 4th as the MRT drivers start to celebrate here. It's actually, I think it's a 3rd or a 4th or something. They finished a lot on the 1-2 finish there. As we're celebrating here in Riverside, as that is the official results. Cody Erdman, 21 points as he wins the race. Mertz 17, Smith 15, Hagenstein 14, Wetz and Livingood 5th and 6th. This will lock the Constructors' Championship up for Subaru. Or for MRT, I should say. Bellamy, Lester, Nicholson. Your remaining order. The Drivers' Championship, a winner-take-all scenario next week in Irwindale. 153, 152. And I think doing quick math in my head, Livingood would have to win the race and his heat, and Erdman and Mertz would have to finish 5th and 6th. That's the only way he has a chance at his 5th Drivers' Championship. I don't think it'll happen. Wetz is officially out, confirmed, 32 points behind the two MRT drivers. Smith 5th, Hagenstein 6th after a very good season last season, picking up the pieces from the Revolution drivers. And I believe he's only got one podium this season, so disappointing for Hagenstein, but the sophomore slump happening for the Dutchman. Lester, Bellamy, Sherman Cars, the rest of the top 10. As here is the Manufacturers' Championship. If there's no Subarus, it'll be clinched. But it won't be clinched. But there's going to be Subarus next race. So it's clinched for MRT, or Subaru. Where are the Constructors' Championship points? That's strange. I'll load those up in a moment. The Manufacturers' Championship clinched by Subaru one race early over Mitsubishi 156, Citroen, Ford, Volkswagen. They didn't have any cars this race, so it doesn't matter. There's the Constructors' Championship confirmed by the points. MRT clinches the championship over Revolution Racing. We're going to now quickly go over the other points. Off the top of my head, Nations is clinched. Privateers is clinched by Hagenstein. Tires is clinched by Bridgestone. So realistically, the only championship that is left is the Drivers' Championship, and that will be a hell of a race next week in Irwindale between the two Red Bull Subaru MRT drivers. It's a winner-take-all scenario. Whoever wins, whoever finishes higher, wins the championship. So we hope you can tune in for the season finale for the 3rd annual Irwindale RallyCross Grand Prix. That's a week away, and there is a week to decide what will happen between the MRT drivers there. And anything that boiled over, as Livingood's not happy from his engine failure, I'm hearing actually in the paddock that he's blaming Mertz for that. So we'll try and check up on that next week. But anyway, that's it from Irwindale. That's all we have time for. As thank you for watching, and so long, everyone.